This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our radio website, X-Zone Radio TV, and for the X-Zone Broadcast Network, where you can find out all the great programming that we have available to you 7/24/365. As well as our new acquisition that we acquired over the past couple of days, the Wi-Fi Broadcast Network. All that information is at www.xzbn.net. As I have been saying for this week, Laura and I went down to Fellsmere, Florida this past, or 2 weeks ago, from the 27th, 28th, 29th, we were part of the Para-Unity Conference. And I must tell you, as I've told my guest this hour, Larry Lawson, the people of Fellsmere, the people of Sebastian in Florida are the nicest, down-to-earth people that I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. Now, we stayed at the Captain Hiram's Resort in Sebastian. Beautiful place, friendly people, super food. If you go to Sebastian or that part of Florida, you have to go to Captain Hiram's. No two ways about it, gang. You have to. You will have a blast. You will be comfortable. You will be well taken care of. Then, during the Para-Unity Conference, we had dinner at the Marsh Landing. Now, if you listen to Larry Lawson's show, Paranormal Stakeout, you will hear commercials about Marsh Landing. Once again, fantastic food, fantastic service. I had the pleasure of meeting a young lady there who works there by the name of Jen. It was great. The worst part about the entire event was saying goodbye to Larry and the many friends that we made in Sebastian and Fellsmere. But I did find something out, X-Zone Nation. At the Para-Unity Conference, There are dedicated, down-to-earth, honest, paranormal investigators who don't want the hoopla, who don't want the sensationalism, who don't want the drama. They want to be paranormal investigators. They are seeking the truth using credibility and professionalism. Mary Jo Pfister, who we had on the show, fascinating lady, great lady, had a great time. Thank you, Mary Jo, for having us, and we look forward to seeing you again next year. And special thanks to my guest this hour. He is the host of Paranormal Stakeout. By day, he is a detective. At night, a detective during the day putting criminals away. And at night, he is a paranormal investigator. Larry Lawson, my good friend. Again, thank you and everyone in Sebastian and Fellsmere for the great time that we had.
Well, it sure was an honor having you down here. And you were a huge part of the show, the conference, and you helped make it a success. So thank you too, Rob.
You know, I have been telling people everywhere I can that Fellsmere and Sebastian are the two undiscovered diamonds in Florida. Like you guys are fantastic down there.
Well, I appreciate that. We like to think our little niche in the world is something special, and we appreciate you feeling that way.
Now, Larry, we've got to take a commercial break shortly, but during the Power Conference, there were some great speakers. You did tours at night. You did investigations at night. Mm-hmm. You learn. You know, people had the opportunity of getting in on a what was that? Where everybody sat down and discussed things on the Sunday.
The panel, the
panel,
discussion
that's right.
panel?
Yeah. I've got a good memory. It's just very short. Happens with old age, you know. Craig, who's my guest this hour? Who? Larry, who? Oh, Lawson. Okay. Yeah, I'm just kidding with you, buddy. It was a great event. You and Mary and her team and your team put a lot of hard work into that. And when we come back from this break, let's talk about the paranormal as the people who attended the Para-Unity Conference saw it with my special guest, Larry Lawson. Here's a couple of websites. Larry's radio show here on the XZBN, www.paranormalstakeout.com. His paranormal investigation team, paranormalfbi.com. And also something, if you're going to be down in that area, www.indianriverhauntings.com. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Larry Lawson and I return after this commercial break. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Welcome back, everyone. Larry Lawson is our special guest. Larry is the founder and lead investigator of the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation, www.paranormalfbi.com. And he's also the host of Paranormal Stakeout here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Larry, what do you, based on, I'm sure that you, Mary Jo, and the rest did a review of the conference. What do you think some of the main things that came out that were discussed that had people shaking, scratching their head and saying,
I think probably the need for that database that everybody will use, and not just anybody that just wants to get information for the thrill of it, but I mean a database used by investigators for investigators so that we can correlate information between investigations. The database seemed to be the most important topic that came up through the whole conference.
Now, during the evening hours, you did investigations with the people who were there. Tell us about the investigations that you did.
Well, you need to understand the reason we do that. We had teams there, of course, but we also had members of the public that came in to want to learn more, and that's a tack that we have in teaching folks what it is we do, what the field of paranormal investigation is. So during the evening, after the conferences during the day, we would take folks to our spots in Fellsmere where we've had documented activity, allowed them to use the equipment, ask the questions. I think one of the most important events that occurred was Brian Cano, one of our other guest speakers, had a group of people in our library, the Marion Fell Library, and was conducting an experiment about the projection of energy and how that could possibly be misconstrued as a spirit.
Banana.
Banana
was the word.
Banana, exactly. Banana was the word. And just so the listeners can understand what Brian, the experiment Brian conducted, was having everybody concentrate on that word for the purpose of finding out if the energy from that created an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. I personally didn't hear it because I wasn't there the whole time, but I've talked to several folks that said that they actually heard that word come across, which opens up a whole new view of how our own energy can influence an investigation.
So does that mean that the investigators on an investigation can actually be the cause of the EVP or the paranormal activity?
I would prefer to say could influence it, yes, and not necessarily in a negative way. Understand, spirits are, in theory, energy themselves. All this experiment showed was that the living could use that energy also. So it's something investigators need to learn to be aware of to keep their emotions in check, their excitement in check, to keep things investigatorily sound, if that makes sense.
But what happens, like we haven't been able to establish that spirits are energy at this point in the scientific investigation into the paranormal, have we?
No. All of this is still theory, Rob, and that's what this is all about. Anybody that says, I have the answer, probably are either lying or severely mistaken. None of us have all the answers yet. Certainly the energy is a logical theory at this point, but the equipment as well as the techniques still need to be developed to definitively prove that, and that's what we're trying to do.
What were some of the pieces of equipment that you were using throughout the investigation?
A lot of the teams brought a lot of their own equipment in. Excuse me. We had the typical K2 meters, Mel meters, voice recorders. All those things were being used. There was a very neat piece of equipment there. A guy named Steve Huff developed it called the Portal. That I've actually seen some very compelling evidence come from in the not too distant past. So it was a whole myriad of all the tools and equipment we have in the field. But I think a guy named Sean Porter was also there. He's one of the foremost, in my opinion, inventors of paranormal equipment, and he and I had a very in-depth discussion on what could he do, or what could the field of paranormal engineers, if you will, do to tweak equipment, to update the equipment, to maybe get better information, to get more accurate readings that will help prove these issues of energy and what spirits are and what they are not.
What is the ultimate goal of a paranormal investigator or a paranormal team? Let's say you and your team go out, they use the equipment that is up and coming, and it is proven that ghosts are real. Then what?
Well, you ask what the goals are. There could be varied ones. I can speak for myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Being a career investigator, I want to find the answers. I want to know what's on the other side. There's been so much evidence that has not been debunked over the years that, in my own personal experiences, tells me there is something out there. What it is yet, I'm not sure. I don't know. But I want to find that answer. There are many in the field that truly want to use this knowledge to help others, perhaps those left on this earth to deal with the death of another, to know that their loved one is somewhere safe. It could be to help somebody perhaps deal with a spirit that is causing them some sort of harm. There's different motives for doing it, and most of them are legitimate. But all of this work is designed to meet those varied goals.
Okay, but as a police detective, you go out, investigate a crime to catch the perpetrator, to bring that perpetrator to justice, right?
Correct.
You deal in physical evidence.
Exactly.
Okay. In your opinion, what is the most compelling piece of evidence that has not been debunked yet to prove that the paranormal is real?
Talking on a personal level, things that I've seen, shadow figures that I've personally seen, voices that I cannot explain,
right,
and would not fit into this category of projection, like banana. It wasn't anything like that. So I've seen that. Now, how do I prove that? I don't know yet, Rob.
Yeah.
Other than I know what I heard. See, and that's the big difference here. I know there's something different out there. What has got me motivated is to find out what that is. I know what happened. I now got to prove why it happened. Not unlike a lot of criminal investigations where you have a crime. You know that a crime occurred, and now you got to put those pieces of that puzzle together to take it to court and prove it to a jury. And that's where I'm coming from.
But when you're doing a criminal investigation, Larry, you have fingerprints. You have forensic evidence. You have scientific evidence.
Sure.
You know, you have a host of resources that you can bring to actually bring that evidence before a judge and a jury to get the conviction.
Sure.
is the equipment that is being used by paranormal investigators today of that standard, and if not, why?
Because it's technology is just coming into its own in that field. Hey, if you go back and you look at the history of criminal investigations, back in the day, they used to use measurements of the head and lengths of your arm to identify folks. As time and procedures and techniques improved, we found that was a fallacy. That didn't work. Hence, fingerprints come in. Now we've got DNA. It is a growing field. Paranormal investigation is no different. Now, there is one bit of difference there, and that's that ability to prove. How can I prove to you, Rob McConnell, that I saw a figure standing in front of me, which has happened to me?
But you see, you, Larry Lawson, I respect not only as a friend, but as a police officer. If you tell me you saw something, I will believe you unequivocally because I know you.
True, but to take just like you could know somebody committed a crime, and I'm thinking of a case I'm working on right now. I know dang well who committed the crime. I have yet to prove it, and until I can prove it, I can believe it all I want.
Sure.
But I got to have the evidence, and that's where we're going with this, and that's where the conference was so important because we had heartfelt discussions about how we can improve techniques, how we can improve technology, what can we do to take these theories, which is a lot of what we deal with right now are theories. How can we take those theories and get that tangible physical evidence? I'm not going to sit here and say mediums, for example. I think mediums are valuable, and I do believe there are mediums out there that are absolutely legitimate. It's like anything else. You got charlatans and you've got legit in all fields.
Sure, I agree.
But you cannot prove unequivocally with tactile physical evidence what a medium is seeing. Well, we've got to get to the point where we can take that information and we can gain some sort of physical evidence. That's a long way off, but we're working towards it.
But wouldn't you agree, Larry, that there are a lot of charlatans within the paranormal, and there are those who claim to be experts in their field that time has proven them to be wrong? For example, I had booked Sylvia Brown to be a guest on my show, and she died, weeks before that she had booked my show. Now, my thing was, well, geez, how come you didn't know you were going to die?
Well, I am not sensitive like that. I have no idea how to explain that. I will tell you this. We got to have some level of faith. Personal experiences have told me that they're not all charlatans out there. And let's face it, there are charlatans in the legal world. There are charlatans in the medical world. There are people that will take advantage of those in need and those that are hurting in all fields.
I agree. Thank God there's no charlatans in politics.
Big Brother may be listening, so I'm not going to answer that. But my point is, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
You're a former cop.
Yeah.
You've seen things, and I'm not saying paranormal, but you've seen things that you just can't explain or you just can't understand how they happened.
Yep.
Well, same thing here. These are things that we have not yet been able to explain, but we will, because you got to have the faith and the desire to keep moving forward. And by God, I'm going to keep moving forward until I get the physical evidence.
That's what I like about you: your tenacity, your get-go, your will, your determination.
Yeah. Well, if you were to stop every time somebody said, hit the BS monitor on you, or said, I don't believe you, or that doesn't happen, then we wouldn't get anywhere. I can think of at least one major case that I worked where my boss came to me one day and said, Larry, you're not going to prove it, put it away. Close the case.
Yeah.
That individual is still in prison today because I proved the case. So it just takes perseverance. And there are some really terrific people in the field. You met them over the week.
Yeah.
That have the same drive to work to prove it. Now, you got to be careful to not let your emotions garner your results.
Stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our break. Exonation Larry Lawson is our guest. www.paranormalfbi.com, www.indianriverhauntings.com. And to listen to Larry on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Go to xzbn.net, look for his name, or visit his show website at paranormalstakeout.com. I'm Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
Welcome back, everyone. Larry Lawrence is our special guest, and his website is www.paranormalfbi.com, www.indianriverhauntings.com. And for all the information about Larry on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, you can go to xzbn.net or visit his website, the show website at paranormalstakeout.com. All his shows are listed there, and you can listen to them right on that site. Hey, Larry, before we get on to the next topic, you were telling me about a gentleman that both you and I forgot to talk about, and he played a very important part, and that's Greg Bush.
Greg Bush, it's Mary Jo's better half. I won't say better half because Mary Jo's the better half, but they're a team together. Yeah. They're a husband and wife, and they did a great job. They were really instrumental in starting a lot of this. So I want to make sure they get the kudos.
There's two super people. They
truly
are.
They are.
They truly are. The paranormal is gaining speed, and I know that you have plans into organizing it because as a former teacher yourself, education is very important to you. Structure is very important to you.
During part of my police career was, I ran the police academy in the area and taught criminal justice courses as the department chair. So, education is vital if you're going to reach the next level. I mean, that's what happened in law enforcement, as you well know. The education increased, and so did the quality of law enforcement.
I know that you have some serious plans that you are working on with other members of your team as well as members of the community. But if you could share your vision when it comes to courses and what the investigators or the new people who want to get into the field as paranormal investigators should do, how do you see that happening, and what courses or what should they be taught?
Courses could come in a couple of different forms, but really what you're driving at, what I'm driving at, is taking individuals, training them how to properly conduct an investigation, how to use the equipment properly, how to collect the evidence and preserve the evidence properly, and how to present it. And that comes in a couple of different formats. Accreditation is something that must come with it also. In other words, there must be standards that folks meet in order to give the evidence they collect credibility, if you can see where I'm going with that. Taking individuals, the best of the best in our field, and having them come together creating standards. And from those standards come the courses taught to maybe new people getting into the field, and perhaps even at a later date accrediting their work at some level. And we do it in education all the time. We do it in law enforcement all the time with national accreditation. It's all about creating standards and creating goals that folks must meet to make sure that everybody's doing it the same way.
How do you think that this? I think you've got a wonderful idea there. I agree with everything that you have said, Larry. But how can we best try to get this technique to be implemented across the board? Because right now in the United States, there's over 5,000 different paranormal teams. Each team wants to find the smoking gun, and a lot of teams don't want to share information. So you and I both know that the exchange of information is necessary in solving any mystery, whether it's police work, whether it's whatever the case may be. So how do we go about working with these other teams to get them to kind of understand the importance of education, the importance of sharing information, that working together to solve the mystery is basically what it's really all about?
And Rob, you described law enforcement 30, 40 years ago. We were there. We didn't share information. It's my case. I don't want to share it with you. Somebody else may get the credit for my work instead of looking at the final goal of putting bad guy in jail. And look where we are today. Today, it is uncommon for agencies not to share information. And, of course, it still happens at some level. But generally today, we all work together. Let's take that tact with the paranormal field. We got to be over the years, it took the creation of standards, accreditation, models in different states as well as nationally, and finally getting people to the point where they want to be recognized for being part of this gold standard. That's what happened with national accreditation law enforcement. Agencies now seek to do that, where 30, 40 years ago, maybe not. So that's going to happen in the paranormal field if we don't give up. Now, we have to create the standard. We have to create an air of inclusiveness, which is what the Para-Unity Conference was about, getting folks together to talk about best practices, standards, training. And that's what happened at this conference here. And such good things came out of it with folks that are really, really well known. And that's what we need to do. We need to create it, and then we need to stay with it and just work it and don't give up.
But what about the groups out there who do this basically as a hobby? Now, we were using the example of police officers and the standards that have been set for police. Police get paid. We are paid professionals. The more we learn, the more we make. Because the more you learn, the higher up the chain of command you go. How do we relate this or translate it to the paranormal investigator who 9 times out of 10 pays for their equipment out of their pocket, gives and volunteers their own time? How do we get them to see the big picture?
You just answered your own question, actually.
I did?
You did, and I'll
God,
explain why in just a second. You're so smart. Look, I used to teach my police recruits that if you got into law enforcement because you wanted to wear the cool uniform, drive the fast car, carry a gun, all those things, you will never find true happiness. To be a successful law enforcement officer, you must understand you're a servant of the people and you're willing to wear that yoke of service. There you'll find your true happiness. So take that theory, and in my opinion, that's the police officers that are really happy with what they're doing.
I agree.
Finally accepted that, okay?
I agree.
Paranormal investigators, they're doing this because they want to, because they believe. Most have valid reasons for wanting to do it, whether it be to find the answer or whether it to be help people, but they have a belief. Taking that in mind, I think that if we can create these standards, create these trainings that people will accept as a general model, eventually we will get folks completely falling in line with it and wanting to be part of that standard. And I think they're going to want to do it, Rob, because they believe. You can't be successful in this business, this paranormal field, unless you believe. And I'm not necessarily believing that ghosts are real, but believe that there's something else out there that is worthwhile finding the answer to. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I want to believe. Like, I want to believe, but in order for me to believe, I have to see the evidence.
Okay, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. But if you truly want to find the evidence, then find the way. Not you, but just in general, find the way to get there. It's easy for folks to say, "No evidence, I don't believe it." Well, if that's the case, I got a guy sitting in prison right now that would still be out hurting kids. And I'm kind of maybe that's a little off the track, but
no, but
still...
I understand that because I know this is a passion of yours, not hurting kids, but putting the perpetrators behind the bars. And you know what? That I can understand that, but I to this very day I can honestly say that I have never had a paranormal experience, and yet I do this show. I talk to people who have. And I've been asked, well, Rob, if you don't believe, why are you doing your show? Well, it's very simple. I want to believe. And I believe somewhere out there is the evidence I need in order to make to believe. But just because I'm going to believe doesn't mean I am not going to change my outlook.
Oh, no, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You should stay skeptical. Because if you stay skeptical, then when you do find the evidence, it's going to be profound and it will affect you that way.
I coming to think of it, I think I might have had a paranormal experience once, but that was only after I had a bad burrito, so I don't know if that counts.
Well, okay. Moving right along. That was good, Rob. That was good.
Thank you.
The listeners aren't going to want to hear us laugh here. Now, come on. My whole point being is I think it's great you're skeptical. I think it's great that you want to believe, but you want the proof. That's going to make you an even more valid investigator. It's going to make you an even more valid member of the paranormal field, because if we had everybody saying, oh, did you hear that bump? It must be the ghost of so-and-so. Well, that means nothing. That's not valid. And that's what hurts the credibility of what we do.
Yeah.
If we have somebody that says, look, guys, I'm not hearing this. You're saying it's here. I'm not hearing this. Tell me how you got this information. Tell me how you got this EVP. That's the type of folks that we need.
I still have a hard time wrapping my head around why certain places like Waverly Hills Sanatorium, why the ghosts or the spirits hang around there, and how do they feel? How do these once human living people who are now spirits feel that they are, they're looked upon by many, and I'm not talking about the fine people that I met down your way, but by many groups as, they're
like a zoo. They're like
exactly.
They must feel like they're in a zoo. No, right. I totally agree, and that's one of the things that must come with training is the understanding and respect. We still don't know why they're there. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of theories. You and I have discussed them ad nauseum. There's lots of theories. The bottom line is we don't know yet. Okay? We do know. I feel confident in telling you I have experienced enough to know that they are out there. Now, whether it's residual energy, whether it's an intellectual entity that can respond to us, and I've been fortunate to experience both. I don't know why they're there.
Yeah.
Now, why a place like Waverly Hills? Look at the horror, the pain that's there. That's my opinion as to why things may be trapped there, and it may be that residual energy. And I must tell you, I do find that theory to be reasonable. The energy part of what a spirit is. I don't know why.
But once again, if a spirit is residual energy, right? Then the energy cannot be locked or secured to any point, because energy cannot be confined unless it's surrounded. Energy is free. So why doesn't it just off?
Well, and maybe they do. I mean, those are questions we don't have the answers to. And I guess maybe that's one reason why I find this so fascinating also, is it doesn't make sense. Why are you stuck there, and why haven't you moved on? And yes, I've had mediums or spiritual people tell me why that happens, but I have not seen the proof of that, so I don't know why.
All right, my friend, please stand by. We have to take our final break for this hour. X-Zone Nation, Larry Lawson is our guest. ParanormalStakeout.com, ParanormalFBI.com, IndianRiverHauntings.com. And don't forget, if you're ever in that part of Florida, Marsh Landing for the best food, Captain Hiram's Resort for the best hospitality accommodations. I'm Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now.
No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Exonation Larry Lawson is our special guest for this hour, www.paranormalstate.com. Larry is the host of paranormalstakeout.com, not Paranormal State. That was that crappy show on Andy. www.paranormalstakeout.com, paranormalfbi.com, and indianriverhauntings.com are the websites. And by day, he is a police detective. By night, he's a ghost investigator, paranormal researcher. Listen, Larry, the other night I was doing some paperwork, and I happened to turn on the Netflix, and they had Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters with the ladies.
Oh yes.
As a seasoned paranormal investigator, what do you think about these kind of shows like Ghostbusters? You know.
Well, I didn't see the new one yet, to be honest with you, but I certainly saw the old ones.
Yeah.
Well, look, you can take it two ways. It's like me with police shows. I do not like police shows because people actually believe that's how it's done. Whether it's a comedy like Ghostbusters or one of the more mainstream, serious paranormal investigative shows, mm-hmm. It serves a purpose, and this is just my opinion.
Right.
It serves a purpose allowing folks to experience it. Now, what they have to do is seek out the true answers, the true proper ways to investigate. But certainly the shows may very well have gotten folks interested in the field that may not have known about it, how to do it, or whatever before. So it does serve a purpose. But what we all have to be mindful of is it's TV. And when it's TV or it's for entertainment, they do many things that just are not real. And so I guess you could say I've got mixed emotions there. They serve a purpose, yet they have to be taken in the context of what they are.
Exactly. The person has to be responsible enough to understand that.
Absolutely.
That, entertainment is for entertainment, and reality is, in the most of the cases, totally different from the entertainment value aspect.
Yeah. And that's not to say that a lot of the folks that are on the shows, I'm certainly not disparaging any of them, because there's some great people out there that have been on the TV shows and have done some really, really great work. Brian Cano is a great example that was at our conference. He's doing some tremendous work right now. So I don't want to make it sound like I disparage folks or even the industry. It's just you got to take it for what it is.
Oh, that's my job. That's what I do.
Sure.
Listen, you've had a number of great guests on your show. You had Gwilda Wiyaka on, and you had Joe Wiegent on.
Great guys.
Yeah, and then you had Andrea Perrin on. She was lady behind The Conjuring.
Right.
What is your take on haunted houses to the extent where there's poltergeist activity, demonic presences?
Once again, based upon my life experiences, I'm never going to say nothing is possible.
Yeah.
Hell, whenever I think that I have found the ugliest criminal out there, the most depraved criminal out there, I find somebody that's a little bit worse. So for me to say that anything is impossible, no, I'm not going to do that. To believe that sometimes folks can make things a little bit more exaggerated they are, especially in the entertainment world, absolutely, and that's what we got to watch out for.
But can it be that what we consider exaggeration can actually be real to them? And that
absolutely.
Because we're standing outside of the box, we can kind of see that what they are perceiving isn't the entire picture, but only the sliver that they feel is affecting their life.
Absolutely. People's perception is their own reality.
Yeah.
And that's why it's imperative that investigators have the ability to step outside the box and objectively look at what they have. That's why teams are so important, because you'll get somebody on your team that might be just getting really too into it, and they're letting their emotions run away with it, and somebody else in the team has to grab them by the scruff of the neck and say, yo, let's take a look at this objectively.
Yeah.
So that there's no question that people can get caught up in their own beliefs and what they're wanting to have happen. And I think the experiments that Brian was working on, Welda is also talking about it on my show, the ability to project our own energies to create false readings of the paranormal. I think that's a real fascinating study that needs a lot more work.
And I really like when you and other investigative groups call themselves a team, because one of the things we learned in police work up here was there's no I in the word team. That no matter what you do it together. And I think I've used this analogy before, that I believe that everyone is born with the piece of the jigsaw puzzle in their pocket. And if we were all to go to a big table, take out that piece of the jigsaw puzzle that we all have and work together to finish this puzzle, that there would be no more mysteries. Once again, working as a team.
Absolutely. And you have one of those pieces of the puzzle in your pocket, too. Every one of us does. Yeah. And working together is the answer. And that was the greatest thing about the Para-Unity Conference and the ones we're going to do in the future. That's what we promote. That's what we believe in. That's what our vision is. Team unity to answer these questions, to help people find the answers they seek.
When you're out talking to people and you're doing your historic tours and you're doing paranormal investigations with people who who want to join you for the first time to better understand what a paranormal investigator does, what are some of the questions that you get asked?
A lot of the same questions you've asked. Well, how come I've never seen anything? How do you know that when somebody hears something that it's not a natural event? What do I need to do to get better at this? All the same questions that you ask us in your interviews of us, and that's what we try to honestly answer. Practice, dedication. You got to have an open mind. If you come into this just as a police detective, and I spend a lot of time in this, if I walk into a crime scene and I automatically say, I already know what happened here, then I have closed myself off immediately to any other angle of the investigation.
And that means you're not a very good detective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to come into this with an open mind, be willing to learn from others, be willing to accept information from others, be willing to look at all the angles. That's when you put the bad guy away, and that's also when we will eventually find the answers to the paranormal.
Have you ever been perplexed by a question that has been asked to you by someone that you meet who either is on a tour or just happens to know that you're not only a police detective but a paranormal investigator?
Oh, yeah. How can you believe this? You're a cop. You're not supposed to believe things like this. And
wow.
I don't know if that really perplexes me because I actually know how to answer that one with, do you want a detective that's going to come in and make a decision based upon just what I feel, or do you want a detective that's going to come in and look at the entire crime scene, put the pieces of the puzzle together, and come up with the correct answer? Do you want open mind or closed mind? Then they get it.
I'll take open-minded any day of the week.
I agree.
So what is next for you and the members of Paranormal FBI?
Well, we've got a lot of things going here. One of the things that we're working on now is creating a laboratory. You and I have discussed this. In the city of Fellsmere, I've got some tremendous support from the city fathers, and my vision, my goal is to create an area where we can conduct the experiments, we can conduct the investigations we need to improve the equipment, to improve the techniques, and hopefully get the answers to this age-old question. So that's where we're heading now, is the creation of this paranormal laboratory that's going to include the opportunity for everybody in the field, the serious investigators in the field, to come out and be part of these investigations, because once again, it's about all of us working together to get the answers. And we have an opportunity in Fellsmere to create that type of environment, and we are really charged up and looking forward to it.
Something like a Paranormal U, huh?
No comment.
No, Paranormal University. Paranormal
I was
U.
just thinking of the TV show. Exactly, and that's where this issue of training standards come into play, accreditation comes into play, because that's what's going to change this when we come up with those standards, we come up with those trainings, and get everybody on board on what it takes, what it's going to take for us to do standard investigations.
During the course of an investigation as a paranormal investigator, have you ever come across ectoplasm?
Not personally, no. Pictures I've questioned whether it was in the pictures, but no, physically no.
And what is your opinion on orbs?
I'm not an orb guy. I'll tell you right up front. I think 90% of the time it's a piece of dust. It's an insect. But I have seen orbs that I cannot explain.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know exactly what they are, but their movements, their colors, their shapes could not be appropriately explained to me. It wasn't weather related or anything like that. So I'm not a big orb guy, but I do believe that there is a possibility that they are energy balls.
Larry, you and I have to say so long for tonight, my good friend. But again, thank you very much for your hospitality. It was great meeting you and the members of your team. Also to Mary Jo Pfister and to Greg Bush and to the other fine people of Fellsmere and Sebastian, especially the people at Marsh Landing and Captain Hiram's. Thank you so much for your hospitality. And Larry, your friendship means a lot to me. And give out the websites again, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Rob, for having me on, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Give your websites out.
Oh, my website, www.paranormalfbi.com, www.paranormalstakeout.com if you have any questions for me on the show. And certainly visit www.indianriverhauntings.com if you're in our area, and we'll show you a terrific time.
And Exonation, this week on Paranormal Stakeout, Kevin Randall is going to be Larry's guest. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Check us out at www.xzbn.net.